Well, Chad, what episode is this?
This is SlapperCast episode number 88.
Wait, are we recording?
SlapperCast mobile edition.
Woo!
We heard.
Oh yeah, I see it now.
This is going to be the show, folks.
This is going to be very interesting.
You are along for the ride.
We just left Omaha, Nebraska. Our last date there of a 4-day mini tour that we did up the Midwest. Now we're driving all the way back home, 13 hours home-ish. Right? How long do you think it's going to take us to get home?
11, but no, it says 13 and a half.
Yeah.
And it's windy and it's sunny, but so we started off in we started off in Wichita. We went to Kansas. We played at Barleycorns on Thursday night. Friday we did Weston, Missouri at O'Malley's at a cancelled festival that we rescheduled and played, and then we did 2 nights in a night and a day in Omaha, Nebraska.
Yeah.
Man, what a weekend. And if you're wondering why we're riding so smooth, let me tell you why we're riding so smooth.
Why, Patrick?
We're 3 smooth guys. No, Jay Holen, who we're going to post a picture of, we have him on camera now. Jay Holen stole the van, put brand new tires on it, rotated it, washed it, waxed it, and had it back to us before we woke up. Yeah, wax on, very good. So we're riding, and there was no tread on the other one, so we're going to hit some ditches tonight. We've got tread for days. So, Chad, what were your thoughts on this whirlwind?
It was really trippy just to be in front of a real audience again for the first time in months. And that made it especially strange for me because I was also playing acoustic guitar on part of the sets.
Well, that's a generous.
No, I mean, seriously. So yeah, it was a little bit of a mind fuck for me to speak some French.
Welcome, Captain Potty Mouth. Are you okay, Eric? Are you gonna be okay?
I think my crown has been taken.
Come sit.
Yeah. The curse crown.
Eric, what do you think?
I thought that everybody that I met was super nice as always. Every time we play somewhere and I meet the new people that you guys have known for a long time, super
media device.
Super nice.
Some speech commands are not available for this device.
Okay. Thanks for talking. And I thought the gigs went well. Good shows. Nice and socially distant. I think we have new fans in Wichita now, and it's been a good weekend so far. Indeed. Nice sunset happening right now. You can see in the camera that the sun's going down. Our faces are lit.
Yes.
And so is me and Chad.
Yeah. We'll talk about each night individually, but I agree with these 2 chaps here. I have the gigs were I thought they went well. The people are they're in dire need of live entertainment. We've always known how important live music is, but it's so crucial right now because people are, and for the most part, they were well behaved. Wearing masks and trying to do the right thing and blah blah blah. So we were happy about that, and also in Wichita, Barleycorns, our friend John Werner turned us on to the club, and he put me in touch with Justin, the owner, and the other owner, Kenny, who ran sound for us. It just got a wonderful. I mean, I was taken aback by Wichita. I wasn't expecting such a great little town.
Yeah.
They've got the cobblestone streets and the big steam engine. They got the railroad museum and but a really beautiful downtown, and wasn't expecting that. So Thursday night there wasn't a lot of people out, but great reception there, even for a small number of people. Very enthusiastic.
Yeah.
Like I say, we'll take it night by night, but John Nania and Sienna Nania, they put us up. They did the house concert for us, and then we played this benefit today, which we just finished, and we're just heading home now. We did the benefit for the Sienna Francis house, and John and Sienna do so much work. They do work year round, raising money and funds for these for this house, and they just do tremendous work. So we'll post a link to that if you feel they need socks and underwear terribly right now. That's what they're in most need of. Of course, cash is always welcome, but they take care of all of their friends the way they take care of, you know, the homeless and the less fortunate.
Yeah.
Just saintly people. And cut this part out, but I even like John. You know, we love Sienna, but yeah, just Chad, take this part out. I love John. I like John a lot, but we love Sienna.
Yeah.
Agreed?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Take out the love John part.
Yeah, their hospitality and their house, just the whole. It was just such. So we have basically they gave us the entire lower level of their house.
Oh, the basement. They have those up here.
Was it really a basement? I mean, it wasn't really underground.
Yeah,
I guess.
it doesn't have to be.
Well, the back part of it is, though.
It is.
The front part opens up to the back yard, but the basement.
This is going to take a long time.
It's
So
sort
a
of a-
man loves a woman.
I
They
grew
have
up in a
special-
I grew up
in a basement.
in a basement.
In a
with
basement? Yeah.
Worked out well.
What's cool about what we were
Sure
saying is that when we played the show in the backyard, the basement became our green room. You know, we had privacy back there.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah, got you.
party
Got you.
lights.
So we have a history. We have a great history with Omaha, and it's all thanks to the late Jeff Quinn, who we met. This is where we met Jay and Jamie and Ted, and of course Jill, and I mean we can name them all. And John Naney, of course, and Sienna. We met them all through Jeff Quinn. Jeff Quinn had ALS, and we came up to do a benefit for him years and years and years ago. Chad, what year?
I think it was 2011, January 2011, the very first time.
You are correct. So we met Jeff, and Jeff was diagnosed with it, but when we met him, we were looking at each other going, this guy is healthy as a horse. He looks great. Visually, there's nothing wrong with him.
Right.
And incredibly bright, and another one of those giving, just people that just give, just, you know. So we met in 2011 and came up and did it, and we just, it seemed like every year we've just grown closer and closer to all these people that we met up here. We always say that, you know, when we tour, we can just go up and down the middle of the country because that's our favorite route. We never get tired of it. We got what, 13 hours ahead of us, and ish, and I could U-turn if they call me when I get back. I would U-turn and drive right back again.
Yeah.
I love it up here so much. They've taken us in as their own, like Eric says. They never ever stop giving. They're just the most generous bunch of people you're going to meet, and you know, I can't wait for this to end so we can come up and see everybody one time and see everybody's faces. People walking in today waving at us, and they go, "Who the hell is that? It's your mother." Shut up. Same with Weston, Missouri, O'Malley's, Michael Coakley, Corey Weinfurt, Damien McCarthy, all the gang, Bob Reeder, St. Bob. So then you get to O'Malley's, and that's with the Weston Brewing Company. You get down there, and you just never want to leave, and they make you so well. We walk into the coffee shop. We're sitting down there for 10 minutes. We're having Blaggards. We're having our pictures taken with people, and the owners coming out and sitting with us and chatting, and and we haven't been there, you know, since last October. Yeah. So just truly wonderful people, and you know, I know now why they call it the Heartland. It's kind of obvious now.
Yeah.
Full of heart is what you mean.
Oh,
It's full of heart.
oh,
Heartland's full.
yeah, yeah.
Nice.
That's
Exactly.
what.
There you go.
Let's go with that.
Do I get the role of assistant cameraman on this trip?
Put him in the credits.
What is going on here?
Yeah, as far as all the different places we went, I think, ironically, Weston being a small town was the place where it seemed like the least had changed since we left, although I know they've been through a lot since we've been there. Yeah, obviously, for months they were closed, and they took advantage of that to remodel, redid a lot of the floors in the pub and some of the stairways. But lately, Michael Coakley, one of the owners, was telling us that business has been crazy recently because nobody's going out in Kansas City, Missouri, because they just don't feel safe. But for some reason, the small town vibe, where there's less travelers, I guess, coming through, so people feel a little safer hobnobbing and mingling, I guess, than they do in the big city. Is that a word?
It is, but I don't think it means what you think it means. Yeah, all that just. I just can't wait to go back.
Yeah.
And this should have been the Western Irish Festival. This is what's crazy. When we picked the week to come up, I didn't realize that it was this is supposed to be the weekend of the Western Irish Festival.
Yeah.
So
ironically. Not ironically, coincidentally.
Yeah. Hobnobbingly.
Yeah.
So when we played at O'Malley's on Friday night.
Yeah.
Friday night. We did a cover song of every band that would have played at the What?
Is that true?
We did, yeah.
Was I there?
You didn't hear it?
I did.
You were there.
I was there.
You were on the drums. No, it's getting dark too.
Blaggards After Dark.
Yes.
Be tuning in, people.
So we played in the, well, we have pictures as well of the cave, the dungeon, the pit, the hole of where we played at O'Malley's, which is it's 2 stories underground. And so, Eric, what did you think about working and playing and singing and dancing in such a strange environment? Was that the strangest place you've ever played?
Well, I played in church before, so.
What?
Yeah.
You? They let you in?
Well, that was years ago. Yeah,
We have to pull
so
over.
I've been meaning to text Mike and cuss him out and not telling me about the load-in because
Mike who?
Mike McAloon.
Yeah.
Because if I would have known that was the load-in, I would have said I will never join this band ever. Totally joking. Totally joking. But yeah, the load-in was definitely you felt it. You know, you felt it in your heart, and your soul, and trying to breathe through your mask and stuff like that. But I thought the stage was cool. They had a nice set of drums actually there. I'm not going to say what brand it was, but
I think it was WD.
a nice set of drums there, and kind of playing in the cubby hole was a little weird. Like I couldn't see you for a little bit, Patrick, and then when Damien was playing, I couldn't see him at all, which was fine. And I thought the staff was fantastic, and the waitresses and the hostess upstairs were great, and I'm over here now, and of course the owner and got up and sang with us, and
Yes.
yeah, that was, and we did the playoff. I'm always living for the playoff, and we actually kind of sort of
Would you tell the gang what the playoff is?
hacked our way for the playoff. So the playoff is it's an old Vegas, old showbiz kind of thing where the singer,
Usually a crooner.
crooner, finishes their big hit, and then it's like a big stop, and then like the band goes back into the song while the crooner waves to the crowd and walks off the stage. You play them off. We call it the playoff, where like the band keeps playing, and probably the greatest one is Elvis's My Way, or Frank Sinatra's. Both of them have a great playoff. Like the band just comes back in, and so I turned. It was Michael, right?
Michael Copley.
Finished kind of singing what he was doing, and I was like, playoff, and I started the song again, and he looked at me, and I was kind of waving, like wave goodbye, like, okay, this is where you get off. not to be a dick about it, but just to be like, this is what we're doing now, and then
It's great.
it got weird,
Yeah.
and then we stopped.
Yeah.
But no, the travel's been great, the weather's been great, the folks have been great, everything's been really, really fun, and it's good to get up here now before the winter comes, and then we can maybe try to, if things kind of settle down again, hopefully soon, whenever people get their act together, we can kind of get this thing under wraps and maybe try to do it again come spring or something like that. We'll see. Who knows?
With the new record.
With the new record.
So do you want to say a few words about the dearly departed Mr. Van Halen?
Yeah.
Oh, here we go.
Everybody was shocked. So how I heard was, I was on the computer and I was actually showing my daughter this route that we were taking to come up through the Midwest, and showing her, what days we're playing where and what we drive and blah, blah, blah. And popped up on my phone, Eddie Van Halen dead at 62, and I was like, wait a minute. I said no. So I said, let me show you how fake this is. So I went on Snopes and I was showing her, hey, just type this in, and then of course it came up as Eddie Van Halen dead. And I was like, no, that's not right. You could see the I was gonna say Karen Carpenter, but that wasn't couldn't see that. But
It's very thin.
yeah, turn side was gone. When
She's on the spine. Her picture's on the spine of the record.
that's gone.
We love you, Karen.
Yeah.
See you in hell.
So I needed a moment, and Tara, my daughter, she kind of left, and she came back a few minutes later. She goes, "You okay?" I was just stunned, just no. And Eddie Van Halen, growing up where I grew up, wasn't he wasn't the biggest talked about thing, because the Van Halen market was this. It seemed like it was this California beach party. It didn't fit our cold, bleak, existence, in South Dublin. And the more I got to know Van Halen, I was like, man, this kid's got something. Again, to have it shut off like that, because we knew he was sick. We knew for a long time he'd been sick, and for a long time David Lee Roth was doing this podcast. And a just phenomenal podcast. You do need, I think I mentioned before, you need either a couple of lines of Coke, or a couple of, you need to, or, a half a ton of espresso to keep up with them. But it really is, it's mind gymnastics when you listen to this guy talk. But every word of it is, it's teaching. It's the gospel of Dave, of Diamond Dave. And he's just so smart and so definite when he speaks, and he'll go through his jokes and he'll do his, but he is a consummate entertainer, the best. But he would talk about Eddie, and they never got along from day one. They never got along.
Yeah.
And when you see Eddie in interviews and you see Dave in interviews, you go, how could they not get along? Two very jovial, very upbeat, very and beyond talented. But then again, you can see how they would clash because of their massive styles. So listening to Dave and listening to his podcasts, and just the little things that he would say, the little things that he would drop, there's just tiny little droplets of information that you would say, oh yeah, he really doesn't like this guy, but it was done in the most politically correct way. He would just drop it in there, and you could, in a court of law, you couldn't get it to stand up, but you knew exactly what he was talking about.
Yeah.
Every time. He's a master of that, and that's a guy that runs his mouth all the time. I know, I feel his pain, but his is gold. Mine's. So anyway, it hit me, and then it hit the floor. It hit me, and the enormity of that loss is just. I still can't put it. People were asking, can you do a Van Halen? I said no. I mean, I need time to sit on this. I need time to. He is the architect of so many of these rock bands and these generations of guitar players. Question for both of you: who would be your bass player, and who would be your drummer? That would be the Eddie Van Halen of drummers or bass players, or.
Well, obviously, I mean, I'm not the biggest fan, but Neil
Peart.
Neil was kind of that kind of guy. I mean, after I said this before, like after Ringo, I think Neil is probably the most influential rock drummer of all time. I mean, and different generations too, because Ringo obviously influenced a lot of the earlier guys, especially the 60s and 70s guys, and then along comes Neil, and there goes everyone else from that generation forward. Yeah. There's a lot of kind of newer, kind of metal-y guys, or guys that play more kind of a proggy stuff, like the Mike Portnoys and the Matt Gartskas and the Woozle Wuzzles. But Neil, I think for a lot of people, is still kind of like that kind of person.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And bass players?
I always think of Keith. Well, we're going to speak on drummers. I would say Keith Moon, as far as bringing something to not just the instrument, but the genre
Sure.
of music he was playing that nobody else had ever really thought of playing the way he played before he did it. Similarly, John Entwistle, also who completely redefined bass guitar in a way that's kind of similar to the way Eddie Van Halen reinvented electric guitar when he came along. Nobody, I mean, John Entwistle was a total pioneer in the way he approached the instrument in a lot of different ways. You know, it wasn't just one style that he pioneered too. But all that stuff was later picked up by people like Steve Harris and Cliff Burton, all those kinds of guys.
Yeah, and
He's a Butler too.
Yeah, I think he's for sure. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think of people like Billy Sheehan as well that would be as flashy as Eddie on the bass, and Glenn Hughes as well. Glenn Hughes, I mean, I just never realized as a kid, because again, we were Sabbath and Maiden and Saxon, all that stuff over and over again, but Billy Sheehan, I've seen him play. I forget what band it was too. He was the thing that stood out. Saw him at Summers on the Beach in Florida, and it'll come to me. But again, great showman, but that's not what I want to hear on the bass. It was the Motown guys. They said, don't play past the 5th fret. You play past the 5th fret, you're not getting laid.
Right.
And that was their. But Billy Sheehan, but what also struck me too about Eddie Van Halen was Eddie said, once he started playing, and then he saw these people mimicking his finger tapping and his, the pinch harmonics and the overtones, the tap, all the tapping and all this stuff. He said, they were doing it as a gimmick. He said, that's how I play. And it is how he plays. He's not doing it for, but that's what, and then, our friend Jim Hinkle, which I thought was the greatest quote. He said that Van Halen took all the music out of rock and just left you rock. I mean, when you think about it, because they are a hard rock band, but some of that stuff is just, it's still brilliant. I think David Lee Roth's lyrics and Eddie's playing.
Yeah, you can't. Yeah.
Oh, I'm heartbroken. I'm just truly, beat up. That was a miserable. Yeah, and two, because I wanted it to be so wrong to show Tara the Snopes site and say, see, it's and then it's a double kick in the head. I was like, no. So
how weird is it to think that somebody who was your creative, like the best creative partner as far as producing, as far as output, producing the best work of your life, is with somebody you can't stand, that you don't get along with.
I know what it's like.
So I mean, how obviously that's why the band's history is so fractured, and also even after and I'm not a fan of the Hagar. I know none of us are, the Hagar period of Van Halen, but they didn't get along either. They had their falling out, I think, was even worse than with Dave, right?
I didn't think so. I mean,
I've heard some bands.
I mean, at the end, maybe. I mean, after it was like.
But they had made up. And there was talk.
Say what you said yesterday about the ballad thing at the dinner table. You were talking about, like, all that great rock came out of David and Eddie's friction, but then you said that they got along with Sammy for the first part of the And so there was
the songs became fruity. They lost that edge, and they became that top 40 station. You start hearing, why can't this be loved in the shopping, in the supermarket, But then again, now you hear Jamie's crying, and you hear, Cradle Will Rock. You hear that kind of stuff. It's like, wait a minute, it's just because we're old. But yeah, just it really is. It's brutal to think that and yeah, he had cancer and he had all that shit, but he still had so much left in the tank. As far as playing. And then with Wolfgang coming in too, I'm a huge Michael Anthony fan. Not as a bass player, that backing vocal. I mean, and Wolfgang pulled it off. No doubt about it. But because I saw Van Halen in Massachusetts back when I moved over here, and I never claimed that I've seen Van Halen. It had to be Dave and Michael. It was Sammy and them. But Yeah, I wasn't a Sammy Hagar fan. I'm still not a Sammy Hagar fan. And I saw Sammy Hagar in concert in Alaska in, I don't even know what year it was.
Can you think,
No.
going back to when Dave left Van Halen, when everybody knew that they were looking for a new singer, right? Assuming that Sammy Hagar did not get the job, if it couldn't be Dave, who else would we have loved to have heard Eddie work with, either Van Halen or otherwise, that he never did? There's got to be somebody who would have been a better fit, right?
You mean vocally?
Yes, and lyrically maybe, but mostly vocally.
I'd like to hear Tom Waits.
Really?
I'd like to hear those
would be
lyrics.
interesting.
I'd like to hear those lyrics with
Running
yeah.
with the devil.
I'd like to hear. I'd like to hear somebody with that. See, I can't think of his name. I just talked about Glenn Hughes.
Oh yeah.
I'd like to see him.
I would think Joe Lynn Turner too. If Joe
Yeah.
was still
Yeah.
doing it.
Yeah.
He's got a nice voice that would be,
Yeah,
you know.
because you have to be able to do that Dave stuff, and you can't do it like Sammy did it. Because Sammy did like a top 40 record. You need somebody in there that's been caught with his pants down the alley with a couple of women and
Yeah.
There's that one song of the new, I can't even think of what it is now, with Hagar singing, but there's one part where he's like going, "Ah," like he's trying to sing. And it's just like, it sounds like it's like really stressful and it really hurts you to do that. So don't do that anymore.
Well, it seems like we need. I mean, as far as good singers, one thing. Yeah, Joe Lynn Turner. That came up on the drive up. Was listening to her. It was a Rainbow song from 1980 or something. And
Yes.
I was like, who is that? That's a really great singer. We had to look it up.
yeah.
It was Joe Lynn Turner. But
I think people kind of forget about him too. They don't really remember him.
it seems like one of the things that makes Dave work with Eddie is that he had a sense of humor, because Eddie was a very playful musician. You know, his music is. You know, there's never one gear in any one song, and there's funny stuff going on, there's exhilarating stuff going on, and
He's always smiling.
and sometimes
too,
he gets
like,
That's a professional.
and sometimes like it's like an example in Panama, where it's just really fast driving. Then you get in the middle of the solo, and all of a sudden it kind of goes down to this not slower, but a little more moodier bit. You know,
Yeah.
he needed a singer who could really work with those different moves the way Dave was really great at that. But I don't know if you could do that if it's not somebody with a really overt sense of humor. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I'm just racking my brain to think who that could be. In metal too. I mean, how many metal singers are there that have a sense of humor? Besides Bruce Dickinson, for sure.
I don't know.
That would be interesting, Bruce. You think? It would definitely be different, but
Yeah, we were listening to some of Bruce's solo work, and yeah, and to me, it's not a solo record if you could just cut and paste it and put it over an Iron Maiden song, and that's how it felt to me. Bruce's stuff, yeah, Rob Halford.
oh yeah, yeah.
he could
maybe.
I think that would work.
You could do it. Yeah, but I just
I can't see Rob singing Van Halen songs though.
no, but
You see Rob Halford singing Jump? That's kind of fucked up.
yeah, you could. Yeah, he's Jump.
I was amazed when you talked about it when that show that he did with Black Sabbath back in the day.
Yeah.
I listened to a bit of that. Yeah, he really
It's not bad.
pulled it off
Yeah,
well.
He did well.
Yeah,
For like
so
no days rehearsal.
I bet you he could do it. Yeah.
Maybe.
Um,
But you think about somebody like Sammy Hagar, who's kind of a power pop, maybe hard rock, I guess, but maybe more like a power pop singer, maybe. So
Yeah.
you think about
Powder Puff.
people in that kind of genre. Like
Yeah.
you might get, the guy from Survivor, or the guy from,
Yeah.
or Steve Perry or something like that. Something weird like that. That would be like
Yeah.
that kind of voice would show up as a possibility, because it is. I mean, it's the Van Halen that we knew in the 70s until 1984 was not the same Van Halen after that. They were more of a pop, power pop band than a hard rock band.
Yeah, I agree. And I apologize if this is beeline, but I just, my heart goes out to Alex Van Halen too.
Yeah.
Because I just can't see him working with anybody. And, like we were just talking yesterday about Alex being such a recluse. you don't know if he's ever gonna, you know, if you like the John Deacon thing from Queen, just walk away and just never see him again.
Yeah.
You know, so there, you know, and Alex is smart enough to know that you don't get anybody, even if Wolf goes to guitar, and because Wolf could probably play, you know, I maybe 60-70% of what Eddie could do, but nobody wants to see that. Nobody wants to hear it. Nobody wants to. They're going to let that go.
I think they're done.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Oh God, yeah. I mean, but the other thing is too with and to Dave as well, you know, because you know Dave doesn't want to stop, you know, so you really you know your heart breaks for Alex because that's all they ever worked. Eddie said it. He goes, if I look back there and it's not Alex, he goes, I'm not playing. You know, that's
Yeah.
I talked to a buddy of mine on Friday, and he's a big Van Halen fan and drummer, and he's actually really broken up about Eddie. Every post that Eddie's passed has been a Van Halen related post, and the way he put it was, he's like, Alex was like, you know, Alex's right hand was Eddie's, you know, right hand, you know, like that kind of rhythm and that kind of thing, and his left hand was everything else in the drums, you know, that kind of and since, you know, growing up together and knowing exactly what that other person was going to play, because they're not twins, but they are brothers that, you know, grew up playing music together. So he was bummed out for, like you just said, he felt super bad for Alex, knowing that his right hand and left hand, his other right hand and left hand are now gone. You know?
And again, it was the same thing. Vinnie Paul, when Dimebag from
sure.
Pantera was shot, and Vinny's and not only watching your brother die in front of you, you know, which is the end of the world, but then knowing that you can't go on. Now they went on and he did the Hell Yeah thing and whatever Vinnie Paul did on drums after that, which, you know, you as a musician you want to play. We've learned that in these 4 days, you know, the 5 days. We learned that, you know, you got to play. But when you have an Eddie Van Halen or a Dimebag or a Mark Knopfler or a, you know, whoever that guitar player is that made this, you walk away. You don't ever do that. There's not going to be a Pantera after Dimebag. There's not going to be a Van Halen after Eddie. Just end of story, and everybody just go home. And that's just awful for somebody like for Alex.
Yeah.
I just, you know,
We were talking about this with John Nania the other day, and I was comparing it to John Deacon from Queen, how he left, and it still breaks my heart to think about. I guess he's happy, you know. He's just, right? I mean,
He's still involved in the band, business-wise,
right? But he just walked away from music altogether.
But you should do that when you have that big a light, and the light goes out. You know, you can't replace it with a you know, an incense stick, which is as close as you're going to get to Freddie. You know.
Yeah, I think Freddie's death really hit John probably the hardest out of all of them. I mean, they all suffered, but it's just the way John's actions were. You know, knowing that the Freddie Mercury tribute concert was probably the last time he was going to play with with Roger and Brian. You know, maybe, I mean, we're just speculating, of course.
Well, apparently they have like a couple more recording sessions after that.
Okay. It's getting dark here, isn't it?
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, we may want to wrap this up.
So so again, we'll we're going to put a link in this. Thank you, Chad, in advance. We're going to put a link in this to the Sienna Francis house, and like I said, you know, everybody could donate, and it makes you feel better, makes you look better, makes you play better if you're a musician. Help out, and we just, you know, our sincerest thanks to the Nanias, to Jay and Jill, we can't go through everybody, but, you know, Michael Coakley, you know, Justin and Kenny and Wichita, I mean, just everybody for bringing us out, and, you know, John and Sienna, they worked, I kid you not, for 2 weeks solid on. I mean, hopefully we'll have some pictures from the house concert.
Yeah,
but
it was cool.
Yeah, just everything they did, all the decorations and all the food and all the prep and all the stuff that they did. Just thank you, and, you know, and we always thank you. We always appreciate you listening, and, you know, hope to be playing for you very, very soon. We got some new music coming, and we got some we got a lot going on, and
Yeah.
Thank you, and I want to thank these two guys for just making this trip really, really fun. We had a ball. We played well, and we just I had a great time. So
Yeah. Good. Too.
Here we are. Let there be light.
yeah.
See you guys.
Thanks for playing. Thanks for listening. Rock on.
All right.
We're good.
Yeah.